limited release shit is fascinating. I just on the last segment was talking about Mountain Dew Pitch Black and how they only brought it out once a year. And I think, like, every time something like this happens, the artificial scarcity problem, it's definitely a big problem. But there's a good reason for it. And it's that absence makes the heart grow fonder, quite simply. Now, my friend and editor, the Devu, he called into The Biggest Problem in the Universe once, the podcast, to complain about the artificial scarcity of pretzel buns. Because there was a period where all of the fast food restaurants started offering pretzel buns or had some kind of pretzel sandwich, and they're fucking great. Everybody loves pretzel buns. They're very easy to come by at, like, the grocery store. Like, they were a big deal for a little while, but then suddenly they all disappeared. And everybody was like, you know, like, what the fuck? I just want a pretzel bun. And he was talking about how, like, there's no reason that they could have got rid. Like, they obviously could keep them around. They've just decided not to, you know. And Dick brought it in as a problem on the next episode of the show. Big problem. But here's why they do it. Because it will always be better in your memory. Especially when you're surprised that something is good. I think that's the biggest one. When a new menu item comes out at, say, Wendy's, the first time you try it, you're surprised that it's so good. So then you start getting that every time you go there. You start going like, oh man, I gotta get that fucking pretzel pub chicken again. You know, this is, for anybody who remembers, anybody who was following me back in 2013 and remembers Wendy's Gate, you know, back when you could make gate jokes and it wasn't faux pas because of fucking Gamergate. But I had Wendy's Gate way back in the day, where Wendy's had released the pretzel pub chicken sandwich, and it was my favorite fucking fast food dish, fast food item, because I ate tons of fast food back then. And I fucking loved it, but they replaced it with a different sandwich that I didn't like as much. And then they replaced that one with another sandwich that I liked even less than the previous one. And eventually they seemingly settled on the like ranch, the chicken and ranch sandwich, which is still what I get every time, but I don't like it that much, honestly. Like, it's just the best thing at Wendy's, but like, you know, it's, they kept taking away the sandwich I wanted, my pretzel pub chicken. They brought it back once briefly, and I remember reviewing it and being like, huh, you know, it's just kind of all right. And that's the thing. You're surprised that it's so good. It's better than the incredibly low baseline of Wendy's food. Then you start ordering it a whole bunch, but eventually you realize it's not that amazing, or just the hype dies down, or some other fast food place has a thing now, and you want to go eat that. And as soon as that thing stops selling as much, they cut it out of the menu immediately so that you'll miss it. You'll feel like you didn't eat as many of them as you wanted to. You'll feel like, oh man, if I could have just had one more pretzel pub chicken, because I didn't know they were going to get rid of it. You know, I would have liked to at least eat a last one on the last day, but you didn't get to. And then they keep it away for like a solid couple of years, and then they bring it back. And you're like, oh, fuck, I remember that being so good. But then you eat it, and it's not as good. It's not as good as you remember. It's not as good as the hype that you built up in your memory. And you're like, oh, this isn't that great. Still the best thing at Wendy's, so you still probably end up ordering it every time. And then they take it away again. And they bring it back a couple years later, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I was wrong last time, or maybe they've improved on it. And then you eat it again. No, not improved. And if you want to see who does this the best out of anybody, it's McDonald's with the fucking McRib. Because every year or two, the McRib comes back to McDonald's. The triumphant return of the McRib sandwich. Oh my god, they brought back the McRib. The McRib is a piece of shit sandwich. It is the shittiest thing in the world. What it is a shitty bun with one little rib link, like the kind that you would, if you've ever had this probably doesn't apply to anybody outside America, and even then, not everybody's had this, but there's this frozen dinner brand called Banquet. And generally, they'll make, like, stuff that you just fucking pop in the microwave for, like, 10 minutes, and it serves, you know, a family of 3 or so. So, like, when I was a kid, I ate shitloads of these. And there was one of ribs. It's just, like, boneless ribs. They don't really resemble what ribs look like at all. Like, if you were to order ribs as a dish at a restaurant, you will never get the kind of ribs that are in these packages. But there usually be 6 of them to a pack. Like, you get 6 ribs, you nuke it in the microwave, you make some cheese and shells on the side, and you and each of your brothers, each of you gets 2 rib pieces, and the cheese and shells divided amongst the 3 of you. That was my favorite meal for years when I was in my early teens. So, it's one of those ribs on a bun with barbecue sauce and 2 pickles, and that's the McRib. There is nothing about this sandwich that is good. The rib is it's the cheapest possible rib meat imaginable. It's just jank ass pork grind, you know? It's just in regular barbecue sauce. There's no special sauce. Pickles are disgusting, and the bun sucks. And it's not even an expensive thing. Like, it's like one of the cheaper options on the menu. It's basically like a mid-tier, mid-range option of the McDonald's menu. But every time they bring it back, people fucking want to try it again. Because you're like, oh, the McRib, I've heard that's supposed to be good. Or like, oh, they're hyping it up so much. Maybe they changed the recipe. Maybe the McRib, like they make it sound like it's the best thing on their fucking menu. Like, they bring it back and they're like, it's back! The McRib is back! And then you eat it and you're like, why is it back? And they keep it around for just long enough for everyone to realize, like everyone to eat one and be like, eh. And then they take it away before everybody, like, fully, like, becomes cognizant of the fact that it's a piece of shit. You know, and they take it away. It's fucking genius. Fucking evil genius. You know, I think I've developed an active disdain for a lot of my media collection. Because of the fact that it's so pointless now, that so much of it is like, I don't know why I own this. Like, because at a time, it was out of necessity. Like, I didn't used to collect DVDs because I wanted to own a collector's item. I used to collect DVDs because I wanted to watch anime. And it was the only way you could watch anime in the United States. I used to collect CDs so I could listen to music. I didn't collect them because I wanted to own, like, you know, like, oh, I want to have a thing that's, like, representative of my taste. I don't know. It's weird, because I feel like I had the mentality of a collector growing up, because my mom is very much a collector. But I feel like I was doing it out of, like, copying other people or something. Like, I never have treated anything I own with any respect. Like, I'm not somebody who preserves things. I don't put things in cases. You know, I don't save, like, every box of everything. Like, most of my shit is ragged. Most of my shit has been damaged. Most of my CD cases have cracks in them, or have, like, broken parts, you know? And as soon as, like, these media forms became obsolete, I, you know, phased out of collecting them, and now I just look at them like, why do I own any DVDs? I've got this gigantic stack of DVDs, and, like, I can't bring myself to sell them, because on some level they represent, like, I don't know, an element of who I am, or my past, or something, or they represent shows that I would like to watch, but I'll probably never watch them on DVD. Like, I fucking own stuff that I would probably just watch online, you know? And they're just standing here in this obnoxious stack. This is also part of why I'm so bitter about them. Like, I don't even have proper shelves for them. that make it so I can easily retrieve a DVD from the shelf, watch it, and put it back. No, they're in a giant obnoxious stack because I don't have enough shelves, and frankly, not enough space for shelves in this room. Not enough space for as many shelves as it would take. Well, maybe I do, but I don't know. I just look at them like, this is dead media. These don't deserve to exist. And I don't still buy any DVDs. The last thing I remember buying on Blu-ray was probably, I bought like the 3 Rurouni Kenshin movies one time for some reason. I haven't watched any of them yet. And I think that's like the last Blu-rays I bought. But like, I don't know. Again, I feel like an active disdain for this media because I know I can watch all this shit online. You know, I know I can just pull up a browser and give it a gander, and most of it doesn't have like anything interesting on it. Sometimes it can be fun to go through menus on DVDs. Like some DVDs have some interesting shit on there. And like, I don't think I'd be able to sell the DVD set of a show I really care about. I have lots of DVDs for shows that I either haven't seen or like I'm not even a fan of. I just happen to have the DVDs, and those I will probably get rid of. But like, it would be difficult for me to sell the DVDs of a show I really like, especially if I spent a lot of money on them, even though they bring me no joy. Like, owning these DVDs, all it reminds me of is how stupid it is to own DVDs. Like, but they'd be really hard to part with. And the same goes for my CD collection. Like, okay, I've got my games. My games I have to own. I can't just play these games. I can't just open a computer, not easily. Like, yes, like, people will often say, like, oh, I don't play games at all. I only pirate games and play them on emulators. And I'm like, that's such a fucking hassle. Like, you have to not only find all these emulators and ROMs and everything, but make them work. Like, half the fucking emulators can't play half the fucking games. You know, and if they do, they play them like shit, or your computer's not spec'd right, or you can't map your fucking controller correctly. It's a fucking huge pain to play games emulated, and that's why I buy them. I'm just not willing to go to the trouble. I would rather hunt down and pay exorbitant prices for a rare game than try to make it run like shit on an emulator on my computer. You know, and I don't even want to play it on a monitor anyways. So yeah, like, I'd rather just go to the trouble. But like, I have a CD collection. When was the last time I opened a CD? Like, I'm looking at it. I've got like hundreds of CDs, I think. Is that double layered? I've got to have like, let me try to count one row of these. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We'll say 22 times 8. So probably like 150 CDs. Don't remember the last time I cracked one open. And a lot of those are also for stuff I don't really care about. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'll never listen to them. I will never listen to these CDs. And the thing about CDs is that they're just like they look like shit. Like a CD case, you can't read the names of the albums for the most part. Like, the artworks, like the cases themselves are garbage. Like, the fucking little plastic cases, they break unbelievably easly. You fucking do anything to one of these and it's immediately fucking broken. And like you open it up and the fucking like crap starts spilling out of it and shit. I hate CDs. Meanwhile, I got a vinyl record collection. I will never listen to those either. However, they're beautiful. That is why I buy vinyl records, because they are beautiful. Now, the problem with vinyl is no real way to display it, because it cannot stand up independently. You can't, like, how are you going to make it face outwards? You know, like, where do you have space to display a shitload of vinyl records? There's not any kind of shelving that really fits them correctly, and if you have enough of them, they will you know, cover a pretty large amount of space, how the fuck do I display my vinyl records? Like, they're the size of posters. They should be posters. They should be something I could stick on my wall, but I can't. So what the fuck do I do with them? They're just standing, and you can't read what any of them are when they're standing up. You know, they're not allowed to be kept laying down, by the way. You gotta stand them up. Basically, they're a huge pain in the ass. And I don't know why I own them either, other than that they look pretty. But at least with those, I can feel that, like, I do feel some collector feelings for those. Because I'm like, ah, yes, I've got this beautiful fucking vinyl record. But, you know, looking at my CDs, all trash. They can all go, you know. But I couldn't get rid of them. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. I should really apply the Marie Kondo method to all of it. The life-changing manga of tidying up method, which I did to my manga collection. As soon as I read the life-changing manga of tidying up, I sold like half of all my manga that was all shit. But with manga, there's actually a practical purpose to it, because I actually read my manga. Like, I just sold stuff I wouldn't actually, like, that I didn't think I'd read, and I didn't want it taking up shelf space, because I planned on buying so much more manga. But, like, you know, that was overall a good experience. So if I tried to do that to these other collections, oh my god, it's gonna be beautiful. You know, I can easily sell half these fucking DVDs. Like, what is half this crap, you know? Assemble Insert, I didn't even like that OVA. Power Dolls, I've never seen that. I've got 2 copies of the anime preview episode of Maze, because somebody mailed me one and I already owned one. You know, like, I'll keep the ones I like, but all this other shit, I've got like a stack of like 7 anime VHS that I inherited sort of from a friend of a friend. And none of them are even good shows. And I have no VHS player. Like, I enjoy the idea that I own anime on VHS because it seems cool and like having antiques, and it makes me feel like a hipster. But, like, I don't even know what Wild 7 is. I've got Hurricane Live 2033, which is like a literal music video of fucking Bubblegum Crisis songs. Crystal Triangle, I don't know what that is. Saber Marionette R, which is shit. And another Bubblegum Crisis thing. I have 2 VHS of Wild 7, and I've never even looked up what it is. I literally don't know what it is. That's amazing. I've got stuff in my collection that I do not know what the fuck it is. How is that possible? Anyway, that's it for this episode. I think I said that I was going to tell this story on a previous episode, and I completely forgot, but I just remembered, because I was staring at my Snorlax slippers that I have, which I bought at Spencer Gifts in the mall, and it was the first time I'd been in a Spencer Gifts in quite some time, and it got me thinking about how I have a strange relationship with clothes stores, and really all stores that I haven't been in before, which is that I don't know what any of them are. I do not know, I could not tell you what clothes stores sell what kind of clothes, or like who wears that kind of clothes, or like what clothes are high quality versus non-high quality, what is where, with very few exceptions. I can tell you everything about Hot Topic. Hot Topic sells shitty shirts at overpriced prices that are relevant to pop culture stuff. So band t-shirts, stuff based on TV shows, stuff based on movies, you know, anything that's pop cultural. It's a big logo of that thing on a very crap quality shirt that's thick and uncomfortable, and it costs $25-$30. Shit store for clothes and apparel. Well, okay, not for apparel though. They're okay for like buying random fun bullshit, but do not buy shirts there. And their pants fall apart very easily. Cheap shit, not good. I know that from you know, I grew up going to Hot Topic. But anything else, I have no idea. I don't know what the hell it is. And so recently, May and I were at the mall, and I think a big difference between the way that the two of us talk, or the way that I talk versus everybody else, because I've never met anybody else who does this quite the way I do. I'm good at recognizing what somebody else doesn't know, or like figuring out how to explain something in a very broad way. You know, when you listen to me give an explanation of something, I start from like the most outer rim of the idea and work my way in. It's not easy for other people to do that. And as we would go out shopping, May would talk about clothes, talk about like different stores and shit, with the knowledge of somebody who knows exactly what all of them are. And I kept trying to communicate to her, like, I kept saying, like, I don't know anything about clothes. Like, I don't know what's in any of these stores. I've never been in any of them. And, like, what I'm trying to get her to do is to just explain it to me. But I don't think she could quite appreciate the level of not knowing anything that I was at. Because she can't relate to it. She's been in all these stores. She knows what all of them are, like, down to a T. She's a big clothes shopper, you know? I know literally nothing. And I'm like, you have to treat me like a baby. You have to assume that I could not tell by sight what a good shirt is versus a bad shirt, or what shirt would be worn by what type of person, because I don't pay attention to anybody else's clothes. I don't know what anybody wears. I don't know what looks good. I am a man who wears pajama pants at all times, and exclusively shirts that are pop culture references to anime and, like, other shit. Like, now I will say, I figured out what high quality t-shirts are. Like, I can definitely tell you the difference between a good and a bad t-shirt. And I'm very careful about what t-shirts I'll purchase based on their, like, materials and, you know, whether they're comfortable. But I will not, I couldn't tell you much more than that. I couldn't tell you where to get good t-shirts. Like, for me, it's like, you know, I buy most of them at conventions and shit. But, so, we were at the mall recently, and, she was commenting on some store, and I said, she was saying something, she was, like, basically, like, talking about, like, something in a store, and I said, how would you score that store? Like, on a, like, give it a grade. And she's like, okay, that one's, I'd give it a C. And, like, here's the type of, I would be like, okay, who shops there? Like, first of all, how high quality is their clothes? How expensive is their clothes? And is it, you know, is it the right price for value? Who shops there? Like, you know, will it fall apart? Is it trendy? Is it popular? Like, I just want to know all the information about each store. So we walked through the mall, like, end to end, and I literally had her score, like, give a grade to every single store in the mall. Now, look, I didn't memorize all of these, but mostly what I wanted was some sense, just some sense of the difference. Because to me, they are all literally the same store. Like, every clothes store to me that's not Hot Topic or Spencer's is the same fucking store. So unless you can tell me what's different about them, I have no reason to think that American Apparel is any better or worse or different from PacSun or Forever 21 or whatever the fuck store it is. They are all the same store to me, unless I am informed otherwise. And yeah, there's a pretty big gradient, according to her. You know, she could tell me, like, oh yeah, that, like, Forever 21 is cheap, shitty clothes that'll fall apart on you, you know? But this store over here is nice clothes, but they're expensive. And I'm like, oh, those stores look exactly the same to me, but thank you for telling me, you know? So it's just like a piece of cultural information, of I won't say imperative cultural information, but of highly relevant cultural information to most people that I am absent from. I have no knowledge in this field, and, like, I desperately want it, because I feel that the baseline level of knowledge that most people have is above mine. And I don't like to be in the retard category of anything. Like, I am literally clothes retarded. I don't know the first thing. My IQ is a 20 when it comes to clothes, you know. I need to be brought up to at least IQ level 90 to 100, you know, so I can feel at least normal. I don't need to be IQ 160 in this shit. I just need to know enough that I don't feel like I'm fucking totally inept at this, you know, at something everyone does and is everywhere, and it's been surrounding me my whole life. Like, I go to malls a lot. I love being at the mall. I only go to 3 stores. I go to GameStop, I go to FYE, I go to Hot Topic sometimes, not even often. You know, Hot Topic and Spencer's, the only reason I went into both of those is because I was birthday shopping for May. But normally when we go to the mall, the one down, which is, it's a very standard mall they got here in our town, and we go to Barnes and Noble so I can buy manga. We go to Game Craze, which is a video game store unique to Rochester. It's like a chain here. We go to GameStop, you know, because Game Craze has lots of old games, but their prices are a little, you know, they're not as likely to have a bunch of shit on sale. They charge like whatever the market value is of a game, which is lame. I don't like them at all, honestly, but they're like the shittiest classic game store I've been to. But we got Game Craze, GameStop. I don't even go in FYE anymore because I fucking hate FYE. They never have anything I want to buy at FYE. So we go to the 2 game stores in Barnes and Noble. And then she'll go to Victoria's Secret and maybe some other clothes store if we happen to have one we want to go to. But, you know, again, I wouldn't know what any other store is at the mall. So, you know, I learned a little bit.